It's the one and only Despotic. Bring you bitches another gameplay commentary. This is Modern Warfare 3, and this is in fact another tips and tricks video, and this is the importance of strafing, right? And for those people who've seen my aiming tips and tricks video, I mainly talked about it being more offensive, but strafing is a kind of, you know, it's also a defensive move as well. And some people might be saying, "Oh, Despotic, what do you mean by a defensive move?" Meaning, if you don't have strafing in your game, like your play style, you're really doing yourself a disservice, right? It's very important for you to do that. And some people might say, "Well, what's strafing?" All right, simply put, strafing is easy, right? What you're doing is you're moving your character's body from left to right, and that makes that character a more difficult target to hit. So strafing is done with your left analog stick, not your right one. Right analog stick is for aiming, right? And you'll see this in this gameplay here. I'm playing with Waffles. We just jumped in this lobby. I think we played like 2 or 3 games, and we got into this lobby with some guy that's ranked like 3,000 in the world when it comes to this game. Kill confirmed, and he's got like 1 day play. But going off on a tangent, let's get back to strafing. Okay, so strafing is important because you see a lot of guys getting into gunfights, and they aim down sight, and whoever wins that aim down sight faster, it's like, wow, right? And then there's some perks that actually allows you to aim down sight a little bit faster, like Steady Aim Pro. You know, while you're running, it actually allows you to aim down sight a lot faster if you didn't have Steady Aim Pro. But I don't use those perks, and I still, you know, like for example, Stalker. Stalker is an awesome perk, man. I think if people only knew about that perk in terms of like how to strafe and stuff like that, I don't even use it because I don't like to hear my footsteps. But Stalker is an awesome perk because it allows you to strafe a lot better when you're aiming down sight or what have you. You don't have to strafe aiming down sight, but it's preferred. You can also strafe just hip firing, and that's very important. That's why a lot of the Kimbo weapons, you see a lot of guys just decimating people. It's not solely because, you know, they have more power. It's because they're strafing from left to right. They really don't have to aim the way they normally do, which is, you know, hold the left trigger and then start shooting with the right trigger. That isn't, you know, that's something everyone does, and most people are always concerned about whose connection is faster, who can aim down sight faster, but that isn't always the case. The thing is, you need to learn how you need to incorporate strafing into your game. So the way I do it, and if you look at my control, I use an Xbox controller. Like the left analog stick is always having issues. That's why I replace my controller from time to time, because I'm like, I use this more than I use my right analog stick. So I'm always strafing when I'm shooting, right? I'm always doing that because it makes you a harder target to hit, and it also helps you when you're shooting at people. Like right here, you know, I took on that fight. I shouldn't have. You know, you got to play smart. But let's get back to this strafing. So you're using the left analog stick to go from left to right. That's why some people don't like I drop shot people as well, right? I use all of the tactics in the game, and for individuals who don't know how to drop shot, just change it to from default layout to tactical. That gives you full control of your character instead of having to press B, right? So you're strafing from left to right. So what you're doing is you're taking the left analog stick and you're just moving it from left to right. And when you're in a gunfight, you will realize, or up close and personal fight, you will realize that, you know, you're naturally doing it if you just practice, right? Sometimes you're straight from right to left. Sometimes you know, you're straight from left to right. And right, you can meet a guy and he's got the best accuracy, but it's really good when people are just standing still. You know, the typical like player, right? They get behind, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? I've always advocated being defensive, but your game has to evolve. Like my game has evolved in some instances if you want it to, depending on you know, how the environment of the game is. So you know, your game has to evolve. So let's say the guy he can shoot you, you know, a guy gets behind a crate, you get behind a crate, and you guys shoot at each other, right? I mean, that's the typical like COD player. But when you know, add strafing and drop shotting to that same player, that player would be a lot better player than, you know, the one who just stands behind a crate or moves from point A to point B, which there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to take your game to another level and you want to go into lobbies and just have people leave, you go into lobbies and have them leave because they're like, oh, this guy's pretty nice. Or you get friends requests. I'm not saying these are the things you should hope for, but you know, when you get into a lobby, you need to make your presence, you know, be known, right? That's competition. That's competitiveness. That's what I do. That's what I want to do, right? When I get into a lobby, that's what I want to do. So I know this is supposed to be a tips and tricks video, but learn to strafe. Make sure your left analog stick is going from left to right, right? When you're drop shotting, you always want to not give the person a clear target, right? A target that's just standing still, right? You never want to do that. That's why, you know, I think players who play that way, to stand behind this place and shoot, they haven't gotten to that other level where they're like comfortable with reading spawns or comfortable with knowing exactly where, you know, traffic patterns are, right? I know for a fact when I started this match where these guys are going to start running. So I told Waffles, don't run into that little roundabout there because you're going to get killed, right? So the thing is, you know, just add these kind of, you know, styles to your game and you'll be a much better player. Anyway, it's the one and only DESPOTIC. Oh, by the way, that guy he left the lobby. Deuces, bitches.